What's up guys, it's Ben in Parts here, welcome to yet another episode of the Cryptid cast, and today we're covering a cryptid that isn't a cryptid per se, in the sense that it's a spirit as opposed to a creature, but it's a cryptid that's absolutely fascinating, and it was recommended to me by a close friend of mine that I respect immensely, so I wanted to do it for her. So Fabi, shout out to Fabi. Fabi is awesome. She asked for this in her native Brazil, so I thought I would provide it. And today we're going to talk about the Saci. Now, what is the Saci? No, it's not the saucy, someone who gives you sass. No, it's not the Starcy, like when you look up in the sky. No, the Saci. And the Saci is a genie, aka a jinn, aka a spirit, aka a humanoid shapeshifter in Brazilian folklore. The Saci is a genie, aka a jinn, aka a spirit, aka a humanoid shapeshifter in Brazilian folklore. It often appears as a one-legged black man smoking a pipe and wearing a magical red cap that means it can disappear and reappear at will, usually in the middle of a dirt devil or dirt swirl. In most parts of Brazil, it's not considered malicious, it's considered an annoying prankster, but in other parts of Brazil, depending on what its personality is and depending on what its disposition is, it's considered potentially dangerous, malicious, or even fatal. It often will try, as part of its routine, to lure people off the track, to get them lost, to maybe get them in a situation where some harm might come to them, or maybe just a little bit of inconvenience. Sometimes, it'll whistle behind people, make knocking noises that lure them off the path, tickle them, and it trolls them, basically. It trolls them. However, like other spirits, it's known to very strongly keep its word. Much like the Garappa in Japan, the phenomenally strong spirit there that often hates humans a lot and will sometimes do awful things to women, but will nonetheless keep its word if you best it in a fight, and will keep its word till its dying day. The Saci will actually keep its word as well. It will, it's said, grant wishes to anyone who manages to trap it or steal its magic cap. In other words, it will do something good for you, it will help you out, it'll assist you in some way, but the cap actually always ends up having a bad smell, linked to sulphur, which is often linked to mischievous or wicked spirits. Many people say they can, in fact, when they get the cap that this Saci wears, Saci plural, these Sacis, they can never actually wash the smell out. And it gets even better, because in addition to only having one leg, it's got a hole in both parts of its hands, and it enjoys passing a match through those holes. I don't know if that's because it enjoys the heat, if it's because it's just something that like people do when they pass something back and forth, if it's a way to thrill people or to scare them, but nonetheless it loves doing that. And there are quite a few versions of this myth. There's the Saci Pereira, which is meant to be black as coal, the Saci Turiki, which is biracial and more benign, and the Saci Satura, which has red eyes and seems in some ways more demonic. And like I said before, the Saci doesn't cause a lot of major harm to anyone. It'll hide kids' toys, it'll set farm animals loose, it'll tease dogs, it'll spill things in the kitchen. But, however, the more malicious evil ones are known to try and cause harm. So it's one of those species that, just like humans, are ambiguous, because spirits are like people. The people of the unseen are like us, they have children like us, they move through the earth like us, they can be good like us, they can be bad like us, and the Saci is no different. A good Saci will help you out, a ambiguous Saci will do good things sometimes and bad things another time and might troll you a bit, and a bad one will be completely out and out evil. And furthermore, linked to the Saci being a shapeshifter, as I mentioned before, it can transform itself into a Matita Pere or a Matita Pereira, which is a very elusive bird, which has a melodic song that seems to come from nowhere. However, the Saci doesn't seem to like water, and it's said that you can actually escape it by crossing a stream, and the Saci cannot cross the stream because it loses all its powers. In Islamic teachings, jinns, aka spirits, are made from fire, so it makes me wonder if this is why it has an aversion to this water. Maybe that water cancels out its power, maybe it could even in some way be fatal. Another thing to this is very OCD-like. Another way to deter the Saci is actually to drop a rope full of knots, because the Saci will have to stop and undo the knots, because it cannot abide the fact that there are knots in the rope. It sounds like a lot of people I know. And also, some people leave cachaça or tobacco for its pipe to make it happy, so it leaves them alone. And for some of them, it will actually juggle embers and other small objects and let them fall through the holes on its palms to entertain people. And linked to that nimbleness, Even though it only has a right leg, it can still bareback ride a horse, sit cross-legged somehow while puffing on a pipe, and it's very prolific in Brazil. Every dust devil, say the legends, is caused by the Saci spinning or dancing. People often teach in Brazilian teachings you can capture it by throwing a rosary made of prayer beads into there, pouncing on it with a sieve and capturing it inside. And also, because some of them are rather naive, the Saci can be coaxed to enter a dark glass bottle, and it can be imprisoned by a cook being put in there. And also, furthermore, another deadly weakness of the Saci is it can be enslaved by stealing its cap. So this is much like the effect of Sauron wielding the ring. When you have the Saci's cap, the Saci, for all its strength, for all its power, for all its ingenuity, for all everything it deploys, is absolutely your slave, and it must bow to your will. But I don't know if it's because it's in a Sauron-like way channeled all its power into the cap. I don't know if it's because it needs some kind of object to focus its powers. And, however, the Saci is not vengeful in every single case. Sometimes a Saci that regains its freedom can become a friend, either due to Stockholm Syndrome or due to genuinely liking you, or it can become a ferocious, terrible enemy, especially if it's powerful and if it's a bad one or an ambiguous one that gets in a foul mood. Just like humans, if it's enslaved or captured or something bad's done to it, it can be petty, it can be vengeful, it can be hateful, and it can absolutely want to strike back against you. So, as regards to this Saci, again, another fascinating tale of a spirit from all around the world. You have people talking about the Wendigo, you have people talking about the Skinwalkers, you have people talking about the Garapas, the ghouls. From all around the world we have traditions of these invisible people that can take form when they want and interact with people in ways that are either helpful, harmful, or just something in between. Some people think the red cap may have been inspired by the Trasco, which is a mythical Portuguese creature with the same powers as the Saci. The Saci Pereira, in addition, bolts when faced with crosses or prayers, smells like sulphur, can shapeshift and is known to deceive humans. All classical attributes of Satan's, aka Shayateen, aka demons in multiple different belief systems. What I believe happened here is that the Saci has relatives literally in Portugal. Maybe during the colonization of Brazil, it came over with those colonizers, and so there are essentially Sacis on both sides of the Atlantic, because the Trasco has the same powers as a Saci, wears a red cap, can be ambiguous toward people, can help or hinder people. I definitely think that the Saci has its origins in the Portugal of Europe, and then has spread to, the Brazilian Portuguese of Brazil through migration. But what do you guys think? Do any of you living in Brazil have any experience of the Saci? Does anyone know of anyone who does? Do you have any interesting stories you would like to share? Please do share those for me in the comment section below, because they always create a fascinating, interesting dialogue, and I sometimes use your suggestions for the next video. Fabi, I hope you like this. I was trying to make it as detailed as possible, and I will see you all in the next episode.